What we're going to be doing is a test of solubility with different materials, different liquids and different solids. So let's get started, and you should have your lab materials should include a description of the entire experiment. So this is called Structure and Solubility. There's also a data sheet that you're going to fill out after you make observations about how what happens when we add two things together. All right, so if you look on your list there, if you look on your data sheet, you're going to be making descriptions of what you see. And we're going to start with using cyclohexane as a solvent. And I have a test tube here. I'm going to put some cyclohexane in it. Now you'll notice the first section says no need to fill this box because cyclohexane plus cyclohexane would be cyclohexane. So there's nothing to see. Let's see what happens with the box just below it. Sodium chloride. So I'm going to get some sodium chloride, and I am going to take a little tiny bit because I just want to show us adding a little bit. Let's see what we see. Okay, now I'm going to mix it with my finger, and I want you to see what do you see here. I want you to write down your observations. Do you see sodium chloride? Do you see a solid and a liquid? Do you see a clear solution? Or do you see something else?
Okay, so now I'm going to do cyclohexane and sucrose. So here's some cyclohexane going in. Okay, back we'll get some sucrose. And now look. Cyclohexane and sucrose. Is it a clear solution, or is there sucrose that is not dissolving? Mix it up. It looks cloudy. Now, is there any separation? That's what you have to figure out. Okay.
Now we're going to be combining some cyclohexane. I got a little bit of that, and some ethanol. And we may have to wait a little bit to see what happens. I'll put about the same amount soon. All right, and I will try to mix these. You'll notice that what do you notice here? And we'll give it a little bit of time to settle. All right. After waiting a while, then you'll notice that you can see, what do you see here? Is there one liquid or are there two?
Okay.
Okay. Our next test will be using cyclohexane again. Which is clear, and isopropyl alcohol, of course, is clear. As soon as I add it, and we mix it up, how does that look? Does it look like the ethanol or not? How many layers do you see? Is it cloudy or is it clear? Okay. Now we're going to mix cyclohexane with, this time with butanol. Cyclohexane. Adding the butanol. Mixing. Okay, do you see any changes? Is there one layer or two? Cloudiness or clear? Cyclohexane again, this time with vegetable oil. Now let's see what this does. Okay. Is it cloudy? Has some bubbles, probably air bubbles, but is it clear or is it cloudy? And the vegetable oil is slightly yellow, and the cyclohexane is clear. Does this have a slightly, does it have a color parted to it? Is there one layer or two? So what do we see this time? That's good.
Okay.
So let's try the second part of the table. For the sake of time, I've added them all together. So here I added some water, and I've added cyclohexane to it. Okay, so what do you see? Do you see one layer, two layers? You see clear? Okay. I'm going to mix it up a little bit. Let's see what I get. Okay. What do you notice happening here? Let's let it settle a little bit. It takes a little patience sometimes. Now, the second thing we're going to try is water mixed with a little bit of sodium chloride, salt. And there are some air bubbles in this test tube, but do you see any of the salt? Do you see?
Mix it a little more.
Okay, let's mix it a little bit more.
If there was sodium chloride here, where would it be? Would it be suspended, or would it be sitting on the bottom? Do you see anything sitting on the bottom?
Okay, our next one is I mixed a little bit of sugar with some water, sucrose, and again, same question as before. Where would you expect to see the sugar or the sucrose? Where would you expect? Would you see it on the bottom or somehow sitting in the water? Do you see any of the solid? Now, our next one is going to be water mixed with ethanol. And so probably about equal amounts. I'm gonna mix it a little bit here, and we'll see what we get. What do you notice? And we're going to watch it for a little bit. again.
Maybe hold it up in front of the paper.
Yeah, let's do that. All right. It looks about before.
Cloudy or clear?
Isopropyl alcohol in water, again, about equal amounts. And is that cloudy or clear? Our next one is butanol. Okay. Let's see what happens here. What do you observe? And let's see how it settles out. Is there one layer? Is there two layers? And our last one is vegetable oil and water. So I'll try to mix that up a little bit. Not too easy. And remember, the vegetable oil is a yellowish color. So I think maybe you can see this quite clearly and make your observations about these two liquids. So now what we're going to do is we're going to think about number one, which materials dissolved in water and which materials dissolved in cyclohexane. And since solubility has to do with the structure of the solvent and solute, then we're going to look at the structures to see if our results make sense. Should salt dissolve in water, and why? Should vegetable oil dissolve in cyclohexane, and why?